Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 7th Esports World Championship here in Seoul, South Korea. We want to welcome you back to our second best of three for our League of Legends competition. My name is Rapid. Joining me once again is Justin. We are in the middle of Israel versus Switzerland. It's pretty even there for a while, but man, Switzerland just slow and steady wins the race, and they were able to push in for the win.
And they knew their win condition was, they knew they were running a Caitlyn comp with heavy focus on the team fight, so they need to wait for that 3-core item to build on Caitlyn so she can put a lot of damage out in team fights. I want to give credit to Team Israel just because they knew what they needed to do to win those team fights. It was just, I feel like there was some sort of just miscommunications in team fights in terms of timing of the usage of the skills, but I think, you know, both teams played really well.
Yeah, absolutely, and we should be ready to get into our second game of this best of three. So still a chance for Israel to come back. We'll see if they can make that happen as we jump into champion picks and bans. Here we go, you can see those champion picks and bans up there on your screen. Israel in the blue on the left-hand side of your screen. Switzerland in their sort of home colors in the red on the right. There's that Lulu ban coming out from Israel, not going to allow any more support for Pride.
And Jack's been, again, coming out this entire series and the previous series too, just that split push pressure and the late game scaling just too hard to deal with at this moment.
Yeah, pretty difficult, and so you can see the focus there saying, look, we don't want that bottom lane that was so strong for Switzerland to continue to be that way. Double support bans, man, it was sort of interesting for Tom Kench. Like, nobody really knew where he was supposed to go when he was first released. Didn't expect him to wind up as a support, but he's certainly been doing a lot of work there. And a Nivea ban, targeting Laggily, that was certainly a point of strength for Switzerland, but didn't expect to see that draw a target ban. So some interesting bans nonetheless there. You can see Dr. Mundo and Karma rounding it out for Switzerland. The first pick, Rek'Sai, here in for Israel.
Yeah, Rek'Sai first pick, trying to take that champion away from Koala, had a great show. Again, the Nivea ban right there. Like I mentioned before, I feel like the mid laner for Switzerland has a great understanding of that champion, utilized walls very well in team fights and in the laning phase also. So I think they're trying to get that out of the picture so they can build more stable composition around.
Right, a very different style of mid lane than that last game. Very passive, very farm heavy, just wave clear over and over again. So we'll see if that persists here into this game. You can see sort of a little bit of tribute to the duo lanes here, with now Switzerland taking the Lucian Alistar. We'll see what they can do with that.
The pick fence has been exactly the same.
Just in
reverse. To this point right now, a little bit of homage to both teams, maybe a little bit of respect. Trying to take away those champions from each other.
To be fair, we won't see exactly the same picks with Nivea being banned out there, but we'll see how close we can get here. Minamute and Shockwave, the next two players to pick it up. I was actually talking to some of the Israeli representatives in between the games. It's 5 a.m. in Israel right now. We got a lot of support for both of these teams coming in. You can see some of the concern here on maybe the Israeli players' faces, thinking to themselves, okay, well, we got to make this pick and ban phase count. See what the next two champions they lock in. It's going to be a Kalista Thresh.
A lot of options here available for both teams. They go for the Kalista Thresh, which has been determined the strongest lane in solo queue right now is those two. Was a combination, so maybe it still translates into competitive gaming, I don't know, but very strong lane in general. And we see Gnar getting picked, being hovered over by Switzerland again, or Malphite, and Lee Sin coming in.
I'm wondering if they're just trying to pick the exact same team comp from the last game. They're getting pretty close to it. There's the Malphite lock-in. Switzerland trying to turn this back around. We'll see if that's going to be an AP Malphite like we saw in our last game. But two more picks in here for Israel. They know exactly what they've been trying to develop here as a team comp, especially with that Fate's Call, able to throw Thresh in for a box. You can tunnel Rek'Sai in. A lot of great engage opportunities. But what do you think we're looking for their last two picks, Justin?
Last two picks, like when you're picking Kalista and champions like Rek'Sai, you're looking for more objective control all across the map. So trying to make picks with Thresh or use that olden team fights as well. So a lot of all-around good comp here, but probably looking for more of a pick comp oriented team composition
well,
here.
Speaking of being able to grab picks off there, Kassadin locked in for Shockwave, and this is the first Kassadin we've gotten a chance to see on the main stage, if I'm not mistaken. So will be very interesting to find out exactly what he's laning against. Now, barring an AP mid Malphite there for Laggerly, we should be seeing a mid lane pick is saved here for last on Switzerland. Not sure exactly what he's going to bring out here. We saw
Yasuo is available, is very good against champions like Kassadin. If they have an AP top laner, sort of like Malphite, they can run an AD mid. It's a very good composition for Yasuo also.
Yeah, you called it. It's being hovered over right now. You've got Malphite, you've got Lee Sin Kick that also sets up for it. You've got Alistar, a lot of potential here for a lock-in on it. But instead of going for the aggressive option, I might just see a passive farm lane once again. And yeah, there you go, Laggerly will get Orianna for the second game this series.
Orianna has been a good pick throughout all the seasons that she's been introduced. A very safe laner. We see usually an Orianna in competitive play run teleport, but with the recent patches, a lot of mid laners are ditching that meta in terms of how they play. That means Kassadin is going to get roam potential on Orianna or once he hits that level 6. So I want to see how this matchup goes. Very team fight oriented composition coming out from Switzerland. I don't know how much damage output that they have against the opposing team, but to be fair, Israel is not running a very tanky composition in general, but it depends on the Rex atomization too. So.
Yeah, interesting to see a little bit of the change up. So many of the previous picks for Israel now going over to Switzerland. I don't know exactly what we have to expect here, but as we finished our picks and bans, that means that we are just moments away from seeing game number 2 here in our final best of 3 series of these quarterfinals being broadcast here today. I'm super excited for this, so let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll get into game number 2 coming up in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to game number 2 between Israel and Switzerland. A lot of claps, a lot of hype from the crowd. And I hope you guys watching at home are ready for game 2. Israel swapping sides over here to the blue side. Switzerland there on the right. Got their flags matching the colors of the teams. Maybe that gives them home field advantage. See if any things changes between games. We've got a very fast Lee Sin Koala. It's the hat that does that.
Something I want to mention right now. Lucian is actually running Exhaust, and Alistar's running Heal in that bot lane right now.
That's actually pretty interesting, considering that, traditionally it's backwards. I know there are some North American AD carries who are very well renowned for running Exhaust on their AD carries, and it's a little bit of a different style, but it basically means you're saving that save potential for yourself. If you want the 1v1, Exhaust is a great spell to have to lock that skill down.
Yeah, so. I've seen recently in high-level solo queue some people run Karma Draven, and with Draven would ignite and Karma would heal. So yeah, preseason, a lot of different things can happen.
Just trying out a ton of different stuff, trying to make see what works. And currently, we're seeing what doesn't work, and that's going to be a pause coming in here for both teams. Try to see if we can figure out exactly what is going on. But yeah, we've got a few starts, a few seconds into the game. We're seeing what their starting itemization is going to be. So a lot of biscuits out there. I think if you don't run biscuits now, what are you doing with your mastery points? It's delicious. It gives you more mana and health. So what's not to love about biscuits?
Yeah, especially with the mana pot gone, the biscuits has been more prioritized in terms of masteries. Again, to talk about the composition of both teams, you can tell Switzerland is very team fight oriented. They got both Malphite and Orianna. They can chain Lee Sin going in with Orianna. They have a lot of potential. She could put the ball on Alistar too. So, but what I'm worried about is how much damage this Lucian can do in team fights when all these CCs are happening. So that's my biggest question coming into this game.
Right.
In terms of Israel's composition, they're running a very duelist heavy composition in both mid and top, running Kassadin and Fiora. Fiora, again, very good duelist, very good split pusher. Kassadin does the same thing too, but he's not running teleport right now. He's running Ignite. And Callista and Thresh, again, as I mentioned before, great laning and also great objective control just with that Ren that Callista has when it comes to stuff like Baron and Dragon. So.
All right, so that's a quick rundown of what we can expect from the early game. I actually really want to see how things progress, later on. We actually saw both of these teams go very even in game one. See if they're as evenly matched here now that the the picks have changed up. Got a brand new game, trying to get that mentality, that mindset right back where it needs to be, and we'll see what they bring out here as soon as we unpause. Looks like just trying to get everything situated for both teams as they appear to be returning to the ready state. See if we can get this unpaused here in just a second. But super exciting to be here. We're coming to you live from the Nexon Arena in Seoul, South Korea. If you ever have the opportunity to come down here, it is absolutely amazing. We've got some great crowds here gathered to watch these games. A lot of the national representatives, cheering for their teams, and of course, a lot of people at home talked about it being like ridiculously late at night, or I guess you could say early in the morning. Back in Israel, a lot of cheers there. Of course, in Switzerland, it is still extremely late at night. It's starting to get in there, but definitely some support coming in for the Swiss team as well.
Yeah. So we were talking to the Israeli team in between games, and then even if it's so early in the morning, they're having a great community backing them up right now, watching these games, having a lot of support, a lot of fan base here watching them. So I'm excited to see if Israel can, give that win for their home team, for their home country, and make their fans proud.
Right, and that would be the first third game series that we've seen all day. In the event of a game three, we actually do another coin flip to determine sides, so it'll be interesting to see if maybe a comeback's starting to come in here. Still, the Swiss team has yet to lose a game in this tournament. They were 3-0 undefeated during their group stage. I think they were able to pick up wins versus South Africa, Thailand, and Iran, and then won their first game in this quarterfinal matchup, rather. Undefeated here, might go undefeated up until the semifinals. That would be a pretty incredible story with Switzerland. Have not been able to win an IESF championship for as long as IESF has been around, and winning this League of Legends competition, getting 100 points for their team. It's a great way to start that off. We'll see if they can make it all the way. They got to go through Israel here in game number 2. So looking for that level 2 there. Play coming back in. There's the Pulverize, getting the headbutt backwards. But Alistar taking a little bit of too much damage, so just deciding to back off there for now. Yeah,
they did the ground first, so they did get the experience advantage. Turn level 2 first, but Thresh, too tanky.
Yeah, not going down there anytime soon. Still a good level 2, and there's another combo onto Crack, but really the play backwards, there's into the death sentence here. While Joshi in a little bit of trouble here. He might be forced to flash away. He is going to flash, but will that be enough to save his life? He's got a health potion sticking down. Crack running into an enemy minion wave, but he's going to secure first blood there for Israel. Back away safely.
Yeah, he all in right there, but both Callista and Thresh was level 2 at that point also, and Lucian could not follow up immediately, did not put enough damage, did not synergize very well, and that turned into a kill on Alistar, who was too aggressive, too wild.
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime Alistar level 2 uses both of his skills, you're like, well, what do you really do as Alistar at that point? You walk around, you moo. That's about it. Mooing not super oppressive here, but we're looking towards the top lane. War jump in, nice block there with the riposte. You don't even get hit by the Lee Sin Q if you riposte it, so it just deletes it. Whatever it is that Lee Sin throws out there, if it's like a wave of sonic energy, it doesn't matter if you riposte.
Great repost right there. Did not have to blow any summoners, only a skill, and did not lose any health after that. So
how does that even work? So you've got a sword, you've got a wave of sound coming at your face. I don't know how you block that, but we're going to take a look here at the incoming Gake into Minamut onto Wild Joshi. He's down to 300, 200, 100 HP solo, but able to get out of their life. Nice lantern for the shield, but it's not enough, and that is going to be Pride clocking himself in for the first kill of the game for Switzerland.
Yeah, so they try to go in on Wild Joshi with the flash hook from Thresh because they knew that both summoners were down for that Alistar, but did not transition into a kill In that meantime, Crack took a lot of damage from Pride and ended up being killed with a flash forward. So.
All right, so going back towards the mid lane, Koala with a hat, looking for the flash, and he gets it.
Yeah, in order to put Kassadin down, you have to put him down pre-level 6, because before that he's very gankable. Not a lot of, I mean, ever since the change, there's a little bit of poke, but still not a lot of poke in laning phase. So it's a champion that needs to develop as the game goes on. So it's good to put him down early. Maybe he'll try to go for another gank later on, knowing that his flash is down.
Really heavy gank pressure from Koala with a hat, both last game and this game as well. So nice to see all that pressure, you know, really well placed there as well. Putting it on the shockwave, forcing out the early flash, and then top lane, maybe relieving some pressure in that matchup. We have yet to see exactly what the build is going to be from Yama from the top lane. We saw an AP Malphite in the previous game. Still start with a corrupting potion because you definitely need that mana regen or sustainability, but see if we see an AP Malphite coming in from Yama.
Yeah, a lot of top laners that used to run Flask are now running that potion. Apparently it does very well damage, so actually even a little bit better than Flask from the previous patches.
Now Min walking forward, nice dash to dodge Pride out of the way of that death sentence. And while Joshi, he's really good at landing these combos. We've seen that pretty consistently. Actually, you know, as far as both teams, great Alistar players on both sides. But when you go in, when you combo, when you get that double knockup, you feel super good. And then you realize that you don't really do a whole lot after that. So needing to coordinate that, maybe a little bit more shockwaves going to land to pull shockwave back in. There's the safeguard. The Q will connect. Koala with a hat in there for the assist, helping Laggly get the kill.
Yeah, Koala with the hat blew that flash early on. Oriana with great wave management hit level 6 first, ulted immediately. Koala was right there to back them up and turn into a kill. Very good job by both teams, by Team Switzerland.
Pretty impressive to see a lot of action going down in the bottom lane. We've got kills on both sides. We'll see who's going to turn that one around in their favor as coming up in just a second. Now, Min clearing out some more coverage. Minimut, though, still on the bottom side of the map, so possibly to put some pressure down there. Now, we are getting up towards that level 6. You can see Laggly already hitting that Kassadin with that kill. Not quite to level 6 just yet. He's dropping down in CS early, but it's fairly expected, so I have to keep an eye on that matchup as it continues to develop. Midamut, you're not so sneaky walking into the bush. It is warded out there, so, you know, good looking out there for Wild Joshi, and he is going to reveal that, you know, Rek'Sai is down there, still positioning a bit aggressively. There you go. Yeah,
I just want to tip my hat to Koala with that throughout this entire game. Maybe that's why the Lee Sin ban came through in the first game. He's been great on this champion. When you're picking champions like Lee Sin, Elise, you have to make a lot of impact in the early game when you're strong, like when you hit that level 4 power spike, and he's been doing that very well. Burning flashes both top lane and mid lane, and then going again mid lane for that kill, so.
Yeah, now he's actually going to go in for a little bit of cheeky counter jungling there. Looking to take down the blue buff, but I don't think he's going to hand that off. Just going to steal it away from for himself, and possibly looking to Murad top lane after that. So it's really interesting to see how this Malphite pick works out. Hasn't gone back to base this entire game. This is a Malphite that has sat in lane for 8 minutes and done nothing else.
And this comes from that early gank that went top lane from Lee Sin, blowing that flash on Fiora. And even though like she had a great repost to balance that Q and all that, but still puts pressure on the top lane. Allows Malphite to farm safely, even though he's losing some CS, he still didn't have to go back, which is peculiar when you think about this matchup in general.
Pride and Min really using that, you know, the Banshee passive to get extra damage off by combining their auto attacks. Pretty well coordinated, and that's actually going to send Pride and Wild Joshi all the way back to base. Finally, a Minamut comes up to his top jungle, and he's like, all right, no jungle camps, but he does find a ward to take that one out of there. Confused as to what X-Rangel has been doing. He's been dashing around, he's been, you know, parrying, riposting, and it's amounted to a small CS lead. He's got about 15 CS advantage, but not a whole lot else. See what happens when Malphite comes back to base, and it is going to be a tanky build looking towards that Sunfire Cape.
Yeah, trying to go for more. Knows what he needs to do in teamfight. He just needs to stay alive, ult after, and then try to peel as much as possible. I mean, off the AD carry. So he knows what he needs to do. He's building that Sunfire. Great against Fiora in general also. And he's still, what I want to mention, he's still saving that teleport right now, so it can be used in any lane at any moment. And to talk about the immediate teleport impact, Malphite has a greater impact than Fiora when they both teleport together in the same lane, so hope to see that being utilized in this game.
Koala with the hat is on the run. He needs to get out of that jungle as quickly as possible. Death sentence. So close.
They're trying to take everything away. Oh, he
Going
goes in.
He wants the smite. He gets it. He's got that red buff, but might be in a little bit of a rough spot. He's going to safeguard his way back out of there. There comes Pride. Box in there. Oh, Yama! Not in time with that Malphite ult. He's going to be able to usher the rest of the Israeli team out of their jungle, but not quite the Malphite ult that he needs. Now, in the meantime, Xrangel coming in, getting kicked immediately back out by Koala with that. We got so much action going down, but neither team with a solidified advantage. Yama still very, very low, trying to walk back out of that jungle, but Xrangel trying to corral them. And after all that damage, after all that action, nobody dies, but it does look like Switzerland may have come out on top.
I mean, Koala still has that red buff, so worth in the end, I guess. But yeah, great usage of their skills. Nice tunnel from Minimo. That was a dead Rek'Sai if that Malphite ult hit. So.
Yeah, I don't know how closely he cut it with the tunnel, but I mean, Death Sentence lands there onto Pride. Not sure that's where Min wanted to go in on. He is going to go down there, flashing back out. This crack, rather, so he's not
huge
not
mistake
die,
from Min. He knows that they
but it
just took
so
Dragon.
Good.
He knew that they just took Dragon. He knew that Lee Sin's spot there. Maybe he thought it was low, maybe he thought it went back, but that's not a play you want to go for with no vision.
Yeah, very high risk. Definitely a low reward there as they did wind up going down. That's when you hit the the button to pull yourself back in on Thresh. You're like, oh, I've made a terrible mistake.
It's like Lee Sin and Thresh, but then great players always say, when you Q the second time in either of these champions, you think while you're flying if the decision was right or wrong.
I think it was pretty immediately evident. There was definitely that, oh man, I am not going to come out of that one alive. So unfortunately, missed opportunity there for Min, but maybe just kind of testing the limits, seeing if that was going to work out, and unfortunately it did not. But I mean, Israel, they've still had a few good plays so far, and as far as the lane phase goes, they do have a big advantage up there in the top half of the map. Xrangel not really pressured at all during this lane phase. He's going up against a tanky Malphite, so he doesn't have to worry about a ton of damage. So we'll see if Xrangel can actually get the damage, get the items that he needs to be able to fight off against this Malphite start to tank up.
Yeah, I want to see if Xrangel can actually try to get a solo kill on this Malphite. Fiora historically does very well against tank champions like Malphite. Though Malphite can use that ult defensively, probably will not try to. But once he gets that Sunfire, I don't know how that lane is going to go, but I want to see Fiora trying to get a kill, to try to turn this game around.
Right, and we're going to see Xrangel rush a Black Cleaver for that exact same idea. You want to be able to chunk through all of this armor that's going to be built up there by Yama, and if you pull something like a Last Whisper, that's really only bonus armor penetration, so much better to just go for the Black Cleaver and be able to, win that sustained, damage war. Keep an eye on mid lane. A lot of low health on that turret. Bottom lane, a lot of low health on Min. He's going to get pulled out with that Fate's Call, but it's calling him back to base. Now we got a little bit of a fight there from Koala. We'll need that safeguard as both mid laners come in to help out their jungle.
Yeah, a lot of pressure coming in from both mid and bot side from Team Switzerland onto Team Israel right now. Orianna definitely winning this lane with the blue that she has. Bot lane definitely winning right now. Top is the only one that's kind of losing, but again, it's a Malphite into a Fiora, so Fiora needs to try, Xrangel needs to try to turn this around somehow, some way, and become the split push pressure that he needs to be.
Death Sentence lands there, signals an immediate ultimate there for Wild Joshi. The turret does go down there, so Switzerland just need to walk back out of this fight. They will be able to disengage safely, taking down that their second turret of the game down there in the bottom lane. So starting to really win some objective wars there, mid, bottom, taking those turrets. What's next here for Switzerland?
There's something I want to praise Team Switzerland for, which is a very difficult thing to do in this sort of amateur.
Steal that
He did. In this amateur scene is that whenever the bot lane or the top mid lane tries to play aggressive, the jungler is always near them.
Are you kidding me? What just happened? Koala with the kick from a mile away. He's going to be able to pick up that kill on a Shockwave, who took a Sonic Wave that he didn't expect and wound up going down. That's why I asked these questions like out of nothing but surprises. Like, did he really just steal that Krug? Did he really just snipe that Kassadin? Oh my gosh, some crazy! It's the hat, man.
He looks very comfortable on this champion. I mean, a lot of junglers do main Lee Sin, but he seems exceptionally. He's doing exceptionally well.
Right.
He showed great showing on Rek'Sai also, but his Lee Sin, wow, impacting the game really early a lot, and that's what he needs to do.
Right. That's like it's like when you go into solo queue and you see, have that one guy's like, I'm a Riven main. You're just like, okay, yeah, sure. You and a million other people. Back in the day, it was like, I'm a Renekton main. It's like, yeah, everybody plays that champion top lane. But for Lee Sin, when you master that champion mechanically, you can really see some of the incredible moves that Koala with the hat's been able to pull off.
Yeah, it's impacting this game a lot in 15 minutes. He made all 4 of those kills, technically speaking, so.
Pretty impressive. He's been involved in most of them. And now as we see, things kind of reset. We're going to recalls back to base for Koala. We'll see what he decides to go for. He's actually already picked up that Warrior Enchant. He's going for a little bit more damage, looking for most likely another Black Cleaver coming out next. May decide to go a little bit tankier, but this is going to be really interesting to see this snowball off the early game. How are Switzerland going to transition from this strong lane phase into more of a team fight focus?
Yes, and like I mentioned in the early game, this is a pick comp. They need to try to get picks in the jungle when the other team is trying to move for an objective. So the biggest important when running this sort of a comp is having vision everywhere that you need to have it. But since their lanes are losing, it's hard to push up that vision by the jungler himself or the support himself, so they need that jungle support synergy or move up as a team, but it's very hard right now to do that in this sort of a situation.
Starting to focus around the dragon area. It's up in a few seconds, so putting down some ward coverage, clearing out that Scuttle Crab. And man, Crack and Min, they've been doing decently in lane, but kind of a little bit between some effective itemization. You've got the VF Sword and the recurve bows. Like, well, what are you really going for there? Whereas on the other side, Pride has completed an Essence Reaver, which is a big power spike to talk about. Dragon going down as Koala with a hat secures it. That is going to be the second dragon of the game grabbed for Switzerland.
Yeah, so a little bit to talk about Crack's itemization or just itemization of AD carries in general after this patch is that characters that used to rush Blade of the Ruined King like Vayne and Kalista now goes for that BF or pickaxe for that early game power spike and gets a second and then rushes a attack speed item second like a rapid fire cannon or in this case Runan's Hurricane. So that has been the trend recently. We see here second tier turret and mid lane getting pressured a lot. Getting poked out pretty hard too, going for that hook. Get the minion.
Shockwave will hit there on him in. Fate's Call pulls him back to safety. So Shockwave down, Kalista ult down, but top lane, that's where the action's been happening. We didn't get a chance to check it out, but Xrangel really putting down that damage. You can see how much of a challenge that grand challenge was there with Yama almost dying for it and forcing himself to not only ult, but barely make it out alive. Teleports immediately back into the top lane. I actually try to stop Xrangel from recalling, but we got a little bit of jungle on jungle action. There's the kick on Amidamoon. A miss on the Sonic Wave means there's not a lot of damage coming in there, but a nice double knock up there. Shockwave and Crack both locked down by it. Wild Josh in a little bit of a rough spot there towards the back, but while with that safeguarding back away is real, trying to chase there. The Kassadin damage just not enough, and Switzerland turns it back around. Crack trying to get out of there as quickly as he can. A lot of low health bars there for Switzerland, but Israel unable to capitalize.
Yeah, so close. It seemed like they were going to be able to turn that around, but Lucian with high mobility able to put out a lot of damage with his Q and just move out of the team fight and come back in. So very unfortunate. You see Xrangel trying to do his best as a Fiora top laner, trying to get that kill on Malphite and turn it into a split pushing pressure and the threat, but it's not just working out very well.
Yeah, it's been I mean, really good performance by Xrangel, both game 1 and here in game 2. But it turns out, like, as a top laner, you really got to either make the game all about that top lane, and you can see right now Xrangel choosing to recall back to base instead of fighting Malphite right there. Somewhat confusing experience as he has completed that Black Cleaver, but just going to let Yama take that turret down. Like, that seems to me like it would have been a good opportunity to fight. But
yeah, if you see a Malphite proxying your lane at 19 minutes, it's not a good sign, just in general. But Fiora did not have enough mana or health to go for that fight against Malphite at that moment with Sunfire and Ninja Tabbies and an extra cloth armor. So, and then you see top turrets actually getting pushed first on the side of Fiora instead of Malphite. So, game looking harder and harder for Israel right now.
Yeah, Fiora was actually one of the big points of strength for Israel. That like a 15-20 CS lead early on. It was like, wow, that lane's actually going pretty well. But now, oh, Metamood gets hit by that Sonic Wave. And keep in mind, this is going to be a Lee Sin that's going to build from Warrior Enchant into a Black Cleaver, so a lot of aggressive damage off of that strong early game. Might be good to build some tank items immediately following that, but we'll see if he's far enough ahead to make that one work out. Either way, very, very strong start from Switzerland. It's important to notice like, where that strong start came from. It's been a very great jungle synergy between the mid lane and jungle. Wait, jungle synergy between mid lane and jungle. So
yeah, it's a 2v1 and 2v2. Like when you're in pick ban and trying to pick these champions and look at the entire team composition, just in terms of early game, you have to look at the laning strength and then which matchup is better, which matchup is stronger, what's your weakness and what's their strength, what's your strength and what's their weakness. And we saw that coming into this game. Fiora is a good laner against Malphite. Kassadin, Orianna, even bot lane, maybe even on the sides of Kalista and Thresh a little bit. But with the Lee Sin ganks, he makes the difference in all of these lanes, and lanes that they're supposed to go even, Switzerland wins, and the lanes that they're supposed to lose, they go even on. And that's why they're losing. That's why Israel's losing this game right now, and that's why Switzerland is looking very strong.
Just in case anybody's going to stealth, there's a pink ward right there waiting for them. But instead, it's just going to push right through the turret. Switzerland starting to dominate as they push through the inhibitor as well. Not looking to fight this. Israel forced to give up the inhibitor. Switzerland backs away. Switzerland has been very careful, very calculated on a lot of their plays, both game 1 and here in game 2. Slow, steady, wins the race, and might just win this second game. They've been undefeated in this entire tournament, really, untested in a lot of different situations, while Joshi kind of getting caught out there. He's got command protected. It will protect him as he does disengage successfully.
Yeah, no vision in their own side of the jungle. They cannot push up unless they're moving as 5, and they might be just trying to force a fight also. So with this composition, they need vision, and there's no way that they can get it at this moment right now. They need some sort of an opening to turn this 10k gold deficit around. I don't know where it's going to come from. It should be probably coming from Fiora or Kassadin, but it needs to come from somewhere.
All right, well, keeping an eye on that mid lane, we've got, both teams grouping up around it. Maybe a possible flank coming in here. Shockwave will pull Shockwave back away. Laggily, though, pretty dead here. That's a shutdown coming over to Rek's side.
But we see Malphite come from behind, maybe looking for a flank. No, he's just backing off. Yes, then this is what I was talking about. They need to get these kind of picks when Orianna's overextended in that mid lane, get that 4-man collapse on her immediately, even if she shockwaves, then still gonna die. So you need to keep doing this one step at a time till they don't get the gold deficit bigger. They need to keep it at where it is and scale off into a late game and try to pull off something there.
So get more gold.
Get more gold.
Good
farm. Farm.
Good strategy. Yeah, gotta farm, gotta capitalize on pick opportunities like that. Maybe you can give a few of these dragons back away, but that was the 3rd dragon of the game, and it is going to give some extra move speed, which might help while Joshi get in range, but not in range enough.
One thing I noticed in a lot of these games that even with the patches, they're not really focusing on the top side objective at all. in a lot of these teams.
Yeah, they're like, what's a Rift Herald? Does Rift Herald really exist? And I think it's mostly because it's somewhat difficult to snowball a Rift Herald take into an advantage elsewhere. Plus, I mean, Dragon, like you can see the consistent focus on that from the Swiss squad has been capitalized on 3 times in a row, and you get stacking bonuses off that. Dead Sentence does pull Koala in, but no one from Israel willing to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I just wish if they put a lot more focus on that. Oh.
Koala pulls some slick moves, drawing out that flay cooldown, but won't really be incredibly impactful. Mobility up towards the top half of the map for both squads. Yama, he's positioning super far forward in there. He's just like, come on, man, it hooked me. I got an ultimate. It's got a Kallista's name on it. Death Sentence cooldown being used, and Yama just positioning so aggressively all the way behind that turret. He just doesn't care. He's going to be that big front line. He is super tanky, and he's also got that Iceborne Gauntlet. I always want to call it a Frozen Fist. But Iceborne Gauntlet coming out there, and a few changes with these preseason. We haven't actually seen that item be built yet here at IESF, so it does scale with your bonus armor. So if you've got a lot of armor, it's actually a ridiculously huge circle of slow. We'll see if that gets used here in just a second, as Israel might be looking for an engage opportunity. Gotta keep an eye on the backline there. Krag kiting backwards. There's that big Malphite ult right onto the backline. Shockwave onto it all. Krag kiting backwards. There's that grand challenge. He's got Fiora going in. Might find a kill there, and he does get that ultimate to proc. X-Rangel trying to find some damage there. He's gonna back away from that fight, but Laggily bushering him out of his own base, and that's gonna be an inhibitor takedown, as Switzerland will find their second inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, they've been through this before. Like they're about to lose their second inhibitor. They wanted to do something, so Kalista ulted Thresh, however, only was able to get the Kalista ult on Malphite, tried to flash play Lucian, but he just eat out right out of the box, and after that the teamfight went pretty one-sided.
And even though Israel were able to kill Pride, they had to invest so much for it that at the end it just really wasn't worth it at all. Now, X-Rangel getting locked down, a nice stun there off of this post. Can they convert this into some kills? Grab there on the Wild Joshy, not really the target you want to grab it. It's going to be 1 kill. It's going to be 2 kills. Israel might be able to find a way back into this game. They get a ward in the bush placed there by that Scry, and now, Laggily in a little bit of a rough spot, out of mana, out of health. The Death Sentence connects, and that's going to be another kill. A shutdown in there for Kassadin. They're chasing all the way, but they do need to get back to base there. Okay, so Fiora's back. X-Rangel able to protect the base from these double waves of super minions pushing in. There's a nice culling. The Death Sentence just barely missing, but Israel in a decent position here. We'll see if they can kite their way into a better one.
Yeah, I mean, they got some gold onto Kalista and Kassadin, which is what they needed.
Does connect there onto Pride. There's the tunnel in. There's the second knockout. The Ignite's down there. Pride kiting backwards. There's the Fate's Call. Throwing it back in. Shockwave. He's going to grab another one. The grab back in onto Yama. It's a double kill in Israel out of nowhere with 1, 2, 3, 4 kills there in a matter of minutes, and possibly even a Baron to come after this.
Yeah, and this is where Kalista comes into play with that Ren. They can chunk this Baron down really fast right now. You see Switzerland pinging that Baron again and again. They know that they're there. They are pulling off because they're too low in health.
While Joshi goes in for a headbutt pulverized combo, but Midamut there in a little bit of a rough spot. He's very low HP. Nice play backwards. Even with a shield, Koala is still able to find that kill. Koala kiting backwards. There's still damage from Crack there, but he's so squishy. He has to watch out for getting comboed. Midamut tunneling backwards. Israel really with a questionable Baron call there. They were so low that in the end, maybe not worth it at all.
Yeah, like it would have been better if they just tank through the mid lane. I know they didn't have a wave set up, but then trying to get that mid lane turret first. They were too low to do Baron, and then it was already telegraphed already. So I don't know, desperation Baron, I don't know, but I don't think that was the right decision. But great pick from Team Israel in general, but I guess this is turning for Baron for Team Switzerland now.
Right, they really need to be a little bit more decisive and decide not to go for that Baron. Now they're going to give that up, and even though they were able to find several picks in a row, Israel still on the back foot now. They're not down quite as much gold as they were before, no longer that 10,000 gold advantage, but I mean, Switzerland's just going to make that gold up as they push down the mid lane and look for their 3rd inhibitor kill of the game. Now, bottom Prime Inhibitor has respawned in the meantime, but with that mid lane turret so low, it shouldn't take them long to push
Yeah,
through
a lot of misconceptions that players have is once they win a team fight and there's no objectives left in the game, they feel like they need to do something.
Oh, Pride putting down a lot of damage. Minimoot pretty tanky here, but look at how quickly Pride is able to kite him out. There's the culling. It doesn't actually catch him, just barely runs back into it. He will go down. There's a kill for Lucian. We got a lot of action here. Rage will kick back into the middle of the fight. Nice pair, or nice riposte rather, but he's actually going to wind up going down. A big Malphite ultimate in there from Yama. Pride very low, but he's going to stay alive. And so will Switzerland's hopes at IESF with an ace inside the base. They will push forward. They'll take down the second Nexus turret, and most likely the Nexus to follow. Switzerland undefeated coming into the second game of the quarterfinals. They're going to the semis.
Great showing for Switzerland overall in general this entire series, being undefeated from the group stage now into the semifinals. So great job Team Switzerland, and nice work Israel too, trying to stay in the game, making a couple of picks, but you know, in the end didn't work out very well.
Yeah, just looking at the damage stats after that game, 24,000 damage dealt by Lucian, the most out of anybody on both teams. Congratulations Team Switzerland, they will advance into our semifinals. We'll be getting those matchups coming your way tomorrow, but I do want to thank everyone for tuning into the League of Legends portion of IESF this morning. Thanks for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure to come back tomorrow and stick around. We've got lots more esports action coming up. The 7th Esports World Championship. Don't go anywhere. Let's go ahead and go over some of the matchups. You're going to check out our matches for today. We watched China win earlier on versus Russia, and with Switzerland taking that win over Israel. That will send both of these teams into the semifinal matches tomorrow against each other. Now, on the other side of the bracket, we saw Korea battling Romania, and we had Thailand battling Serbia. And you can see actually Serbia with not necessarily an undefeated record here at IESF, but an incredibly strong one, able to take out Thailand and advance. And Korea actually dropped game number 1 to Romania, but then were able to come back and win 2 in a row to advance over the incredibly strong Romanian squad. And so that is going to show you our matchups for tomorrow. With China crushing Russia, they will fight Switzerland tomorrow, and then Serbia versus Korea will be our second.
Switzerland and China both look very dominant in their game. They both sweeped it with 2-0 victory. China maybe in a more dominant fashion in terms of the micro game, but Switzerland, their macro game was on point, and their jungler Koala with the hat doing a lot of things. So that may be the bigger focus that China needs.
He's not going to get Lee Sin, and it's going to be exciting to watch both of these semifinal matches coming up here tomorrow. But that's going to do it for our League of Legends broadcast here today. So it's been pretty exciting for me. I know it's been exciting to have you along with me, Justin. So thanks for coming in and filling in. Of course, best wishes to LS out there as he is recovering and unable to join us here today. But thank you to all of you for coming out and joining us here for the 7th World Championship of IESF. We want to thank you for tuning in to our League of Legends broadcast here tonight. It's been great to have you guys along for the ride, and hope you've enjoyed the show. Looking forward to see you guys back here tomorrow for the semifinals. Thanks for watching.